Hey everyone, Dark Skeleton here, and today I want to show you a fun budget deck I've been playing around with over the last couple months. I haven't really shown it in any videos, but it's called my Egg Warrior deck, and actually after taking a look at the deck list, it doesn't even run cards that aren't rares. The only exception to that is that you do have to have the Naxxramas set, because Death Spite is in there. Actually, I only have one Death Spite. You could maybe get away with not running it. But honestly, most people would probably argue I should have two in there. It's still a work in progress, and what you got here are two enrages and two abusive sergeants. The purpose of those cards is to enable your eggs. This deck is all about these eggs, and having eggs on the field, if you've ever played a Zoo Warlock, you know for a fact that basically these eggs are just minions that stick on the field. They're hard to remove, and they're a constant threat as a board presence. Now, Warlocks are good with the eggs because they can power overwhelming them, and they still have abusive sergeant. And then on the back of power overwhelming, they can eat them with the Void Terror, and that's great. So we're kind of going for the same kind of thing here, except in addition to Nerubian Egg, we're also including Dragon Egg, because if warriors are good at doing one thing, it's causing your own minions to take damage. So you got Enrage, which turns this into a 2-1 that spawns another 2-1, and then you run this 2-1 into any minion, and then you end up with two 2-1s on the field. One of which, well, the third one died, because the third one is the Dragon Egg, obviously. And that's all well and good. In addition to that, of course, you have Cruel Taskmasters ×2. And just the other day, I put in 2 Dark Iron Dwarves, because I felt 6 enablers is not enough. Why not just go for 8? Even better. And another benefit you can use with these enrage style cards is to actually just play Rampage, give a minion +3/+3. It's actually pretty easy to get this kind of a buff to go off, given that you have a deck basically built around it. And it's a very cheap card you can play. Not many people run Rampage, and actually I think it's alright. It allows you to take these otherwise weak minions and have them break through things like Sludge Belcher. Keep in mind, this deck has no silence. I don't know how I feel about silence as a whole. Yeah, it gets rid of the taunt, and sometimes you need that if you're playing Face Hunter. But it's not the only way to deal with the taunt minion, and if you silence it and you don't have lethal, you still have to deal with the minion ultimately, because it's going to be making trades. Anyway, other cards you include in, well, I include in this deck, Warbots ×2, a card very rarely seen, but actually it's pretty good at the early board control, sort of like a Zombie Chow. Also has the potential to enrage this as well, get an extra +1 attack on this guy, possibly make it like a 4-2 if you're going to enrage it or something like that. Which is card inefficient, yes, but you know, it's not that terrible, and I just kind of wanted a way to use Warbot for fun, so I think it kind of fits. Fiery War Axe ×2 goes without question. It's in every warrior deck. Battle Rage, you would think with a deck that's not only this low mana curve, but also that basically plays around the same kind of thing that Grim Patron does, where you're enraging all of your dudes and trying to make them take damage without dying, that this would be a Battle Rage deck. And you would be absolutely correct! Battle Rage is insane! It's just not running Control Warrior, because Control Warrior only ever has like 1 minion on the board at a time. But playing 2 Battle Rages, it's really good. It's not hard at all to get 2, 3, even 4 card draw off of that, because you have all these weak minions and you can flood the board early. You'll notice actually that the mana curve currently only goes up to 4. So yeah, this is a low curving deck. You need a lot of card draw to stay in the game past like turn 7 or 8. Alright, 2 Commanding Shouts. That's kind of, you know, up in the air. Commanding Shout can be really good if you're trying to like trade into an Ancient of War or something, your Ramp Druid decks. Keeping you guys alive, also combos with Battle Rage. In other situations, it can be really bad, where you don't have any minions on the board because your opponent's been really smart about clearing your dudes and denying you card draw. That's usually how you beat any warrior deck, is to deny them card draw. So if you have no minions, Commanding Shout becomes a dead card. It's worth considering dropping this down to 1 Commanding Shout, but that's how I have it set up for now. I might trade that for a Lothab, or actually maybe the new Pit Fighter. Here, let me show you. I don't actually have any of them yet, because I didn't feel like dropping $50 on the game. But Pit Fighter is a 5/6 vanilla. It's a common, and that actually is worth considering to run. You gain 1 HP over Lotheb, but you lose the spell ceiling effect. So if you wanted to put in like a 5-drop and you didn't have Lotheb, I think Pit Fighter would be fine as a budget choice. Anyway, 1 Armor Smith. You don't actually really want to gain much armor with this deck, and considering all the other early game cards, it's not like you're that scared of a Face Hunter. So having multiple Armor Smiths is a little bit of a liability, because you armor up too much, and if you do that before you take any damage, which is quite possible, then you prevent you from battle raging your face for that extra card draw, and that's really bad. If possible, you don't want to really be armoring up until you've already taken some damage. That's one reason Fiery War Axe is actually good, because you can take the damage really early on. Okay, Nerubian Egg. Of course, you're trying to make this spawn. Cruel Taskmaster, enrage it, whatever. Run it into something else, get a 4/4 Nerubian, it's just super value. Same concept as a Zoo deck. Acolyte of Pain. It's played in every warrior deck. It's really good in this one because you have a lot of enablers as well. You can make it a 3 attack minion easily, possibly being able to actually kill something. Or you could just enrage it to draw a card and make it a 3/2 instead. Basically, whatever you can do to draw cards off this is going to be a good thing. Frothing Berserker is sort of your win condition. Oftentimes, you have all these minions on the field and you're just trading minions into their minions, and that's a lot of minion damage going back and forth, which makes Frothing Berserker really good. The deck doesn't run Whirlwind, although it is actually worth considering a card like that, simply because there's too many sort of weak minions. You'd have to be careful about it, because like Dragon Eggs, you don't want to Whirlwind your own dragons off the board. That would be bad. Or like a Nerubian Egg, if you've made it take 1 damage and maybe it's a 2/1, do you really want to Whirlwind your 2/1 to get the 4/4? It's you know, it's something you could play around with, and it's definitely, Whirlwind would be questionable with cards like Cult Master for sure. But Cult Master down here, which I guess we'll talk about now, is actually pretty necessary, because this is more like a tempo deck. It's early board control, and then you just overwhelm your opponent if they don't have the AoE responses for it. And even if they do have AoEs, remember, eggs are sticky. That's really good for you. But Cult Master, you have all these dudes, and you are desperate for card draw. So Cult Master trading minions in, like if they have a taunt minion, sure, you lose a few minions, but you get your cards back, and it allows you to keep yourself in the game. So Cult Master is really good in this deck. 1 Death Spite. Why do I have 1 Death Spite and not 2? I think the main reason for that is that, A, if you get too many weapons early on, that would be bad. And, yeah, that's bad in most warrior decks, but I think it would be particularly bad in this one, because you really do need those early minions like the Dragon Egg and the Nerubian Egg out there on the field so that you can actually enable them and regain the board control instantly. Secondly, the Death Rattle effect is not outstanding in this deck. Yeah, it works with Acolyte of Pain and Frothing Berserker, but you're not really trying to combo it with Grim Patron. You could actually consider making this like a pseudo-budget Grim Patron deck. There's so many different ways you could build this, actually. So Grim Patron could be a 5-card spot, but I didn't want to just make a subpar Grim Patron deck, you know what I mean? So the Death Rattle effect could be a liability. It's not really a Whirlwind deck. It's more you want to enable 1 card at a time, not your whole field. And, secondly, it does cost 4 mana. And this is a really fast-played deck, so 2 Death Spite, yeah, you could do it and it would be okay. Is it what I want to play? Not so much. So, the Dark Iron Dwarves, I believe I mentioned those at the start. Just basically another enabler. You have 8 here, which are going to be Enrage, Abusive Sergeant, Cruel Taskmaster, and Dark Iron Dwarf. With all of those, you're pretty confident you can get these eggs to trigger at some point. Oh yeah, and of course Rampage, if you have some splash damage, like an egg becomes a 0/1, you could Rampage it up to a 3/4. and that's actually reasonable. Rampage works really well with Dragon Egg, because often you can get like 2 or 3 eggs off of, or whelps rather, off of this one egg. And that's pretty sick. So let's go ahead and actually take this into a game. Now, keep in mind, my deck list, it's pretty much constantly in flux. And if you want to make some changes to it, go ahead and let me know what your results are. Because it's an interesting deck, and it does catch people off guard a lot of the time. No one in their right mind expects a warrior to be running the Ruby and Egg and Dragon Egg, but actually, the warrior meta, or the warrior cards, actually work pretty well with them, to be honest. So, let's go ahead and find an opponent here, and see how it goes. I don't know if I've played a game since I've actually added in the Dark Iron Dwarves.
You asked for it.
Okay, full Taskmaster, Frothing Berserker, and Commanding Shout. These two, not at all what we want, simply because we need the early game cards. Frothing Berserker actually feels a little bit slow. Against a mage, would we actually want to run that? I think I'm going to go with my gut and hold on to the Frothing Berserker. It's fine to play it for tempo. Yeah, it does a lot of damage and it can be your win condition, but it's not the only way you can win. Often you win just by controlling the board. And Dragon Egg enrage, that's a good combo. So we drop the Dragon Egg on turn 1, we enrage turn 2, and trade into their guy. Then we have 2 whelps on the field. Only problem is, there's no real follow-up to that. So, it would actually be fine if he doesn't play anything. You could consider not armoring up here, simply if you want to take damage. Of course, he's going to play the Mana Worm, so he probably will have to make the play here. I would say probably going second is actually better in most cases with this deck. Okay, what do we draw? Fiery War Axe. That is a really good draw for obvious reasons. Then we are not going to play too aggressively. This is a Tempo Mage, obviously, because they're playing Mana Worm. So we're more worried about controlling the board. Okay, so this is going to be where he plays Flame Waker. And we will play Frothing Berserker. Enrage, this guy will get buffed. Oh, actually you could do this, but I kind of like the Enrage play better. Yeah, because it makes it a huge threat that he absolutely has to deal with. So we'll just do this. So Enrage under the Dragon Egg. Hit his dude with it. And we'll get another egg. Hit it with the Fiery War Axe, no Flame Waker, and we have a big ass Frothing Berserker and 2 1/1 whelps on the board. Or 2 1 whelps. You can see how really quickly this can really spiral out of control. The problem is now, you really need to get the card draw some point pretty soon. That's one reason you want to go second, because you get that extra card. We'll be able to do fine with Death's Bite. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if it hits this. Or my face. Rep. Okay. I think we just hit that with Death's Bite. And, how aggressive do we want to get? Death's Bite is fine. Now, Tempo Mage doesn't have BGH, so you don't need to worry about that. It is kind of sad when your Frothings get BGH'd, because that's the only thing in the deck that can be BGH'd. But it's usually not that big of a problem. Oh my god, he's seriously... Are you kidding me? What? Okay then. So we'll make the trade here. And I'll just go ahead and... do we want to do Abusive Sergeant? I think I'd rather catch him off guard, so we'll just hit his face before and armor up. I can't believe the Tempo Mage was running BGH. I jinxed myself so hard there. And that's actually a big deal, because if he didn't have that, he would have had to fireball it and pretty much lose.
Freed from the curse.
Okay, I don't even know what he's playing. Okay, now we can kill that with the I actually like this play better, I think. So we'll Cruel Taskmaster and get the whirlwind effect. This is where that spite is actually pretty good. I will attack before I whirlwind. I mean, attack before I Cruel Taskmaster. Get that card draw though. If he pings it, whatever, that's fine. More card draw would be great. You can see this deck. Oh man, that's like the dream draw. Well, he's not gonna Flame Strike yet, right? I think it's safe to just play the Warbot. Yeah, might as well. It's kind of a whatever card at this point. If he goes for the Blizzard, that's okay. Even if he coin Flame Striked,
I am freed from the curse.
He would still give me a 2 wealth on the board, so he can't completely clear everything. Okay, and this is actually going to work out nicely, because that's a Battle Rage, 3 cards. Ooh, we can get a 4-card Battle Rage, actually. Which is sick.
Battle commencing.
Yeah,
Battle
we'll just do it the next card draw way.
Back to work.
Okay, now this is what you would call when the deck works. So you gotta get this card draw. It's really nice. Ooh, I do like that. Ooh, I like that even better. Oh man. So much cheese. I could actually push lethal, sorta. How do I want to do this? I could rampage the egg and hit that, a 3-4.
What
Then I
now?
just hit his face for some damage. I could put a Nerubian egg on the board. I could command Grim Shout.
I must choose.
I think I like the rampage way. Because he's either going to Flame Strike or he's not. I'll save the Warlock. Isn't this an oppressive deck, guys? It's just like, they want to play minions. Nope! I'm a Zoo Warrior. Okay, so it's like Flame Strike a bust. Interesting, he Frostbolts the egg. Why would he do that? Does he have... He does not have Arcane Explosion, does he? Is he Lex leveling me? Ice Block? Okay, so we got 8 damage on board. I could draw into lethal. How worried are we about things here? I say we figure out what's going on first. Probably Ice Block. I'll play this. And we'll make the trade if we need to.
Battle commencing. Battle commencing.
Just in case, I'll actually commanding shout here. Should have been doing that first.
No problem.
Okay. So, it might be Ice Block. Doesn't really matter to me. He Flame Strikes, he dies anyway. He doesn't Flame Strike, he dies. Unless he's an Aglixstrasza, but it's turn 8. It's too quick for him. He actually did have Arcane Explosion! I have no idea. They saw the meta and they were like, I'm gonna hard counter this warrior deck with my Arcane Explosion in my VGH. What?
Done.
Okay. Whatever that was. So that does demonstrate the deck pretty well though, guys. It's a lot like Zoo. It's hard to deal with. It's an Enrage and Battle Rage deck that also plays Rampage. It's cheap to make. I think I'll actually put the deck list on hearthstone.com. I think this deck list, not counting the fact that you do have to actually have the Nax cards, but who doesn't have Nax at this point, for the Nerubian Egg and the Death Spite, I think this is literally like a 500 or 600 dust deck. Like Dragon Eggs. Okay, you actually need BRM for the Dragon Eggs, but you don't need legendaries. You don't need epics. So yeah, we'll figure that out with the total on hearthstone.com. But this has been my Egg Warrior deck, aka my Excitable deck, Excitable. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Feel free to try it out. It's a lot of fun. I think you could probably get to, you know, rank 13 or 10 pretty easily with it. I haven't taken it farther than that on the ladder, but then again, I don't really bother to play ladder above that. So, yeah, I think it's fun. And it's definitely different, and a budget deck. So give it a try, guys. Until next time, I've been Dog Skeleton, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.